Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to another doll ranking video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at all of the Barbie fairy dolls. So not too long ago, I don't know time is an illusion for me, but not too long ago I did a ranking video where I took a look at all of the mermaid Barbie dolls, and I feel like the natural follow-up for that is to do the same video but with all of the fairy Barbie dolls. Y'all already know I'm obsessed with mermaids, and the same goes for fairies. I love fairies so much. So like I was very excited to get into this and like start preparing for this video. Also a little bit nervous because like we know that Barbie doesn't always put out the best stuff and I can be a little bit critical, but hopefully regardless we are going to have a fun time today taking a look at all of these different fairy Barbies. Of course, everything that I say is just going to be my opinion. You are absolutely free to disagree with, and definitely feel free to let me know your like highlights and lowlights of the dolls that we cover in today's video. I'm always very curious to see what y'all's opinions are. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about my opinions on these dolls, which is always a fun, wild ride. So hopefully that will be fun for you guys. If you find yourself enjoying, if you could give the video a like, that's super helpful for me. If you enjoy, subscribe so you can see more. And then if you want to go out of your way to support me, I've got links and stuff in the description. But there are so many dolls to get through today, so let's not dilly-dally any further. Let's start getting into the ranking. Okay, so as with all of my rankings, I'm using Procreate, and the tiers that we have today, I tried to make them kind of thematic. I think it's kind of funny, so just please laugh at my jokes. At the top, we have Fairy Dream, and then we have Flutterific, Cute Enough, Technically a Fairy, Bug, Derogatory, and Butterfly Away From Me. Yes, I know, I think that's much funnier than like I should. I like to laugh at my own jokes. Also, should have said this before because like I always somehow manage to forget something in the intro. There's a good possibility that I did miss a fairy Barbie just because there are so many, and like I'm not good at trawling through these Barbie databases and like remembering which ones I've already seen and which ones I haven't, or which ones are color variations, or like sometimes I just miss one. So I'm sorry if I missed one. Definitely let me know in the comments if there is one that I missed, and I will let you know my opinions on it. But yeah, I tried my best to at least get one color variation of all of the different fairy Barbies, so we'll see how good I did with that. Now, the first one, we're starting off with a real banger because this is a glowing fairy. There are two of these. We're going to be taking a look at the second one up next. This is the Julia glowing fairy, and I love this doll so much. I really want to get her at some point. Like, I just think she's so fun and silly, and like, I love the colors for her, but what really gets me is the fact that in like the name, the glowing fairy, she does light up. Like, I think it's her arms. You can see they're like that transparent color. They light up, and I just think that's so fun. I'm a sucker for like a well-designed gimmick. Like, I don't always like transforming gimmicks or like color change gimmicks, but if you're going to give me a fairy that lights up, I'm going to be a happy person that day. And so like, obviously, I think that she's really fun. You guys can probably already guess, but she's going to go into Fairy Dream. I just love her dearly. I should have kept that on uniform because now she's a little distorted, but that's okay. Next up is the second glowing fairy. This is Crystal. I do like her just a little bit less. It's not even like the pink. Like, pink isn't my favorite color. I don't hate it though. It's honestly this like molded on like butterfly section right here. I just think that that looks a lot more silly goofy. I don't know, like obviously these are toys designed for kids, like they are inherently a little bit silly goofy, but I think that something about it makes me feel like it's designed for an even lower age range, if that makes sense. I don't know. She's still really cool though. She still glows. I still think she's got a lot of really good stuff going on. She's just going to go in Flutterific instead of Fairy Dream, which is still a good ranking. Then we have the 2002 Tooth Fairy, and I just have a beef with the Tooth Fairy in general. I don't like things to do with teeth. I don't like dentistry. Going to the dentist is the worst ever for me. I hate it a lot. And so the idea of crossing a fairy, something that I love dearly, with teeth is like, why would you ruin that? So I am biased against any and all Tooth Fairy dolls. I'm sorry. I'm just not here for it. That being said, it's funny that this is marketed as the Tooth Fairy because like nothing about her is giving tooth. She just looks like a flower fairy, like the roses all over her dress, and especially the glitter on her skirt. I actually do really like. I the marketing is getting me in this one because objectively I'm like, yeah, this should probably go in like Cute Enough. But she's a Tooth Fairy, and literally just that moniker like makes my brain go into alarm mode. I don't like things that have to do with teeth. Like, it freaks me out. I just can't do it. I'm really sorry, but I have to bump her down a rank for that. She's going into Technically a Fairy. There's not actually that much wrong with her design. I just don't like teeth, and I don't like the tooth fairy. Next up, we have the glitter swirl fairy, who definitely is an improvement, mainly because she isn't tooth themed even in name. But no, I actually do think this is cute. I like the color scheme here. Like the blue and the pink, I think really look nice together. The pastels are a good vibe for Barbie. I kind of miss when we got more pastels from Barbie. We have, true to her name, a swirly glitter skirt, which I do think is quite fun. It looks like the top is molded on, which isn't necessarily my favorite, but I feel like, especially when it comes to these more like fantasy sort of lines where it's a mermaid or a fairy or something like that, for some reason I feel like the quality of the clothing tends to go down. Like there tend to be more molded on pieces, and I even could understand it more with the mermaids because like a lot of those are designed to be toys that can safely and easily be played by they can be played with. What is the right sentence structure here? That kids can play with in the bath. So like they're supposed to be water toys, or like, you know, a kid is going to see a mermaid and want to stick it in water. So it's supposed to at least be like water safe. So I do understand a little bit more why mermaids get molded on stuff. However, the fairies, I don't know what it is. That was a really long tangent for absolutely no reason. I don't think I'd ever buy her, but I do think this is a cute doll. I'm going into cute enough with her. Next up, we have Joy Bell, one of the Wonder Fairies. I do think I got the rest of the Wonder Fairies like later on in this list. Like I know there are more, and I'm pretty sure that I remembered to put them on here. She's really quite cute. We do have the molded on top, it looks like, but I really like the wings. Sometimes you'll see later, the Barbie fairy wings get like very literal and quite frankly just disgusting. I think this is much cuter. I like the flowiness of like the skirt situation she's got going on. She does have like molded leggings. I'm not sure if you would call it that, but like her legs are blue and they do have molded on little like spiral designs. I can't decide if that is bothering me a lot or just a little bit. Because like I've looked at these dolls, like images of these dolls before, and I've gone, okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to own that. And I think that the legs were a big factor, but now looking at it again, I'm like, I don't know, she's kind of cute. All of that deliberation, she's going to go into Flutterific. I think that that's a really solid design. And especially like with me knowing what's coming up, I can't knock her too much for that. Next up, we have the Swan Lake Teresa as the Fairy Queen, which is just reminding me I forgot to say something else in my intro. What else is new? I'm only including like proper fairy dolls, so like Fairy Queen or like fairies with wings. I'm not including like elves because depending on the lore that you're going with, elves could be totally separate from fairies or they could be like almost interchangeable. And frankly, I don't think that Barbie has a consistent lore with that. And so I figured it'd be easier to just do strictly fairies for this video. That being said, even though Teresa here doesn't have wings, she is the fairy queen. So like, I can't really not give that to her. And aside from her lack of wings, I do think that this is an absolutely stunning doll. I'm not sure if it's just like this stock image, but something about the hairstyle with the face mold I feel like is not doing her any particular favors, or again, it could just be like this particular photo. Giving her the benefit of the doubt though, the whole ensemble is really quite beautiful. I love all of the glitter, obviously, the layers, the detail. I feel like this is a really, really solid doll. I don't feel like I can quite put her in top tier because she doesn't have wings, and to me, like a fairy is like a winged creature. That's my favorite type of fairy, I guess I should say. Like I know that that's not always how lore surrounding fairies goes, but that's what a fairy means to me. So yeah, I'm gonna put her in Flutterific. She would be like a high, almost top tier, but I just can't quite give it to her. Next up, we have the Starlight Fairy, and frankly, I'm not sure why this is marketed as being a fairy because she doesn't have the wings. She's also not like a fairy queen. She's not particularly ethereal in any sort of sense like that. I do think that the gimmick is kind of fun. The fact that you can like spin her and like her belt swirls and lights up. That's fun. This isn't a fairy to me though. So like if I'm ranking her specifically on fairy doll, she's gonna have to go into bug derogatory. I'm not gonna put her in bottom tier because I do think she's got a cool concept and her design isn't terrible, but like I don't think that's a fairy. But these three are, oh my god, okay. These are the Sparkle Fairies, and I love them. I do have two of them. I'm still missing the Purple Fairy. I need to get her at some point so I can, like, complete my trio. I love these so much, and I literally can't tell you why. Definitely part of it is nostalgia. Like, some of this is just me liking these toys from when I was a child. but they're so fun. The molded on glitter tops, yes, they're molded on, but they're glitter. So like, I'm not going to argue with that. I think that the wings are quite well done. They've got these cute little like petal-esque skirts. I love these for literally no reason. Like there's absolutely no reason I should be this obsessed. They're skin glitters too, which like amazing. I just love these. Again, I can't explain it, but I do. So they're obviously going to go up into top tier, all three of them. They're so good. This one, okay. This is the Snowflake Sparkle Fairy, which, as I'm sure you've noticed by the ones we just looked at, is the pink Sparkle Fairy, except she's got like a different skirt and she has a fur collar and she's got silver glitter on her chest instead of pink. I don't know. Like she's still cute, but also it feels like a little bit low effort. I don't know. Like I would have liked to have seen more changes. Like she's even got the same hairstyle and the same wings and everything. That being said, she is still cute. So like I'm gonna put her in Flutterific. I can't give her top tier because she's kind of just like a duplicate to me, but she's cute. Next up, we are looking at another Tooth Fairy. This one does look more like what I would think of as a Tooth Fairy. I don't know why I associate the Tooth Fairy with the color blue. I don't know if like I saw that in a particular piece of media or anything and like that made me think of it. She also does have a pouch that you can put a tooth in, which I'm sure is so fun for kids who are experiencing the Tooth Fairy and like getting some money under their pillow. But as an adult who, again, doesn't vibe with teeth, I get it. Still horrifying. I do think that her design is cute. I just can't. And like the way that this little cartoon tooth is staring at me, I like, there are tears coming to my eyes. I don't like this. I don't like teeth. Just because I don't think that the dress is ugly, she's going to go into bug derogatory. She's narrowly avoiding the bottom tier. I can't explain it. It's fine. If you get it, you get it. If like you're also a teeth disgusted person, you get it. It's just, ugh. Anyway, next up is Kindly, who I think was another Wonder Fairy. So a lot of the same things that I said about Joy Bell, I think that was her name up here, still apply, although I do love yellow. Yellow and orange are my favorite colors. So like she is kind of bumping up a little bit because of that. I still think that like the wings and everything are super cute. She's got good vibes. I know the picture quality is kind of questionable in this. I am sorry. Some of these are just a little bit rough. But yeah, I mean, I think she's really precious, but I still don't feel like I can quite put her in Fairy Dream, so she's going to Flutterific. This is the Beautiful Fairy. That's it. I don't know. Sometimes these names are like really quite funny. This is a very Barbie fairy. Like this is, I want to say like 2010s Barbie fairy. I don't know like what year she was releasing. It just makes me think of like Barbie in the 2010s, if that makes sense. Because it's not quite what we are getting now, like the real rough stuff, but like it's not quite as good as Kindly here. Like, come on. The wings are still pretty solid though. I do like her general design. I just think it's very bright in like a way that I don't find appealing. Sometimes bright stuff is so great, but like this is just not 100% there. I'm still going to put her in cute enough because I know it gets so much worse. It gets so much worse. Okay, this one, I use the Barbie database on like barbiedb.com to go through these and like I'll type in my search term and like find all the stuff, right? This came up when I said fairy and like I guess that is sort of true in the sense that like there's flowers and wings and like kind of a bug motif with the headpiece here. So like I get it. Fairy's not in the name. This is the Princess Stargazer. I don't even know if I said that at this point. But this one was hard because I almost didn't know if I should include this because again, fairy wasn't in the name. And there are so many more Barbies that like have wings and could be considered being on like the cusp of being a fairy doll. And I just didn't know if I wanted to include all of those. I ended up just going with what came up in the search results. So like if it was fairy enough for the official, not like official, like it's not licensed by Barbie, but if it was official, oh my God, I can't talk today. If it was fairy enough to come up in the search results on the database, I kind of figured, okay, we'll go with it. And anything that wasn't, it's just not here. And I'm sorry. Again, I'm not trying to like intentionally exclude any fairy Barbies, but like it can be hard to define a fairy. Another long tangent. Anyway, I love the wings. I love the hairstyle. I think that this antenna headpiece is a really cool way to amplify that like bugness that you see with some fairies. I like the really intense flower on the chest. However, I really don't like this sheer bodysuit. Like, I don't know, something about the shape of it, like the shape of the designs on it, just makes me, I don't know, I don't like it. I'm trying to think of like a good way to say it. I'm trying to think of a way to say it that won't be so family unfriendly that I might risk getting demonetized. I'm just gonna say that it is something where it doesn't feel like it's done tastefully. Like if you've seen like formal fancy dresses that have a lot of sheer paneling to them, a lot of times the pieces that still need to be solid, so like with dresses it's usually a full skirt, but like on top they won't just put like two little circles, right, to cover your modesty. Like they'll try to make it some sort of design or some sort of like fading thing so it doesn't look so obvious. This feels very obvious that they're like, we can't have this doll be absolutely naked when we produce her, so let's just like stick a lot of glitter right there. And I don't think that it looks subtle. I don't think that it looks great. I hope that you're kind of getting what I'm trying to get at with that. There is a way to do sheer illusion and like appliques over a sheer dress to be like barely covered that I think can be done in very tasteful and very artistic ways. This is just not doing that for me. And it's not an issue of like, oh my god, this doll's naked. I literally don't care if your doll's naked. Like, that's fine. I just don't think this is executed well. I talked about that for way too long. This video is gonna be so long. I'm putting her in cute enough, even though I just complained about that for so many minutes. Okay, next up, collector Alina doll. I don't even have to make a comment, right? Like, we all know this is a beautiful fairy doll. The level of detail is so, I wish all Barbie dolls had this level of detail. It's so, so pretty. The hairstyle is amazing. I love her. I'm never going to own her because she's expansive, but she's going to go into Fairy Dream anyway. Next up is from Fairy Secret. There were a couple that were labeled like this, so I don't remember a Barbie movie called Fairy Secret, but that doesn't mean much. So like, maybe it's from a movie. I don't like this. This is sort of what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about how literal the wings get. Like, why do you need to have butterflies on your fairy wings to like symbolize that they are fairy wings? Honestly, this isn't like the worst example of that. It is, again, going to get so much worse. And I think that you could probably put butterflies on pretty much anything and make me like it because I like butterflies. But it's just kind of verging into that territory where it looks a little bit less like actual fairy wings and more like a costume. And I don't like that. Like when I see a fairy doll, I want to believe that this is a real fairy, right? And the dress isn't helping with that. Like this is, it looks like someone going to like their first homecoming dance, but like they also decided to wear fairy wings, you know? I really don't like it. It's not the worst that we're going to get into, so this is going to go into bug, but we're getting kind of rough. These are a couple more Fairy Secret dolls. Really rough quality, so I am sorry for the images here. They could be worse, but like they also could be so much better. And I want to be charitable and put them in a better rank, because at least this looks like an outfit that a fairy would wear to me. But the vibes are off and they're going in bug too. Ooh, we're getting to some more good ones here. I like this ranking because like the way that stuff came up, they kind of just sprinkled in goodness amongst all the badness, so it never feels too depressing, at least for me, with my opinions. This is the Fairy of the Forest. I have this doll. I love her so much. She's so beautiful. The glitter on the wings is amazing. Her dress is so well draped and elegant, and like she's just such an absolute cutie. So obviously she is going to go up into Fairy Dream. And then kind of her sister doll is the Fairy of the Garden. And I have very much the same feelings about this one as well. Another one that I do have. I just think this is so cute. I feel like this dress is a good mix of being like kind of structural on the top, but also the bottom is very like flowing and petally and feels like something that a fairy would wear. And that's what I want. Like I want my fairy dolls to look like they could be real fairies. She's got these cute little booties. I love this doll. I love her so much. Fairy Dream. Okay, this one is the Fairy Secret Bride, which now that we've gotten to 3, I didn't realize there were this many. This has to be a movie, right? I'm not going to look it up right now. I don't have time to look it up right now. Like, I have to focus. It has to be a movie. I didn't expect there to be a fairy bride on this list. Not what I was anticipating. It could be a lot worse. I honestly don't really know how to feel. I think I don't love her, but I don't really hate her. I'm gonna put her in technically a fairy. Okay, this one is, I believe, also from a movie. I want to say it's from the Mariposa movies, but I can't be 100% sure. Anyway, this is two different Catania dolls. I am almost certainly butchering that name, and I am very, very sorry for that. This first one, the wings are cool. Everything about her just looks like the bad kind of budget doll. Like, you can make a doll on a budget and have it look fine. Like, it doesn't have to have a ton of details, and like it can be budget friendly while still looking okay. This is not that, so we're gonna go with, I think we're gonna put her in bug. I hate that skirt so much. It looks really rough. However, this one, significantly better. It's a little bit much for my taste in terms of like the color scheme. It's getting a little aggressive with the particular colors that are chosen, but the wings are still fun. At least this skirt feels like something instead of just like a slapdash bit of fabric. So that's gonna bump her up a rank, and she's gonna go in technically a fairy. Next up we have Mariposa herself. Y'all, these dolls are so good for no reason. We're gonna have a couple more coming up. I don't even know what to say. This doll is so unreasonably cute. The butterflies on the top, perfect addition. I'm genuinely a tad bit speechless. She's going in Fairy Dream. And then next up, two more Mariposa dolls. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, though, we're just gonna roll with it. These are kind of like more deluxe dolls. I want to say maybe with both of them the wings like unfurl, and that's kind of the gimmick that goes with them. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that's what it is. Taking a look at this first one, I do love the hint of like the yellow to orange in her design, just because like, again, I do love those colors, but the dress is a bit lacking. I still have to put her in Fairy Dream, which means they're both gonna go there. Spoiler alert, because look at this doll and how perfect she is. Like, the huge wings. I love that too. I'm a sucker for huge fairy wings. Huge wings. They're glittery. The dress has got extra layers on it. Amazing. I want to own her so badly. These are both absolutely beautiful, and they're going to go into Fairy Dream, which is like filling up quite a lot. Shockingly, I'm a little bit surprised. I'm proud of myself for being so positive. Me, I'm being so positive. These are the next ones that come up. I'm sorry, but this is awful. These are fairy wing shaped cutouts printed with hearts and snowflakes. That's it. Like, it's just shoved on there. It doesn't look like real fairies. There's a lot of molded on stuff happening. This is like a different body too. Like, this doesn't feel like the normal proportions of a Barbie. Like, the head seems a lot bigger. None of it's working for me. We're gonna have our first butterfly away from these. Another fairy tale magic doll, and another affront to dolls in general. Yikes. That's all I have. Butterfly away from me. Another Tooth Fairy! Yay! Ah, okay, so she's got another pouch. This one was from 1995. Assuming I wrote down the years right, which like is a big assumption for me. Again, I get that the pouch is like so fun for kids probably. I hate everything about it. I'm literally gonna cry. Not in a good way. Most of the times when I'm going to cry on this channel, it's because I'm really excited about something. This is like activating my fight or flight. I hate this so much. I'm warm. She's going in the bottom tier. I don't like it at all. Thank goodness we have Alina to save us. Whew. I genuinely like cannot explain that reaction. On the left here, beautiful doll. I think that this is really pretty. I like the way that her outfit was done. I think that her wings look superb. This bibble is hilarious. But she's a very, very, very cute doll. So when I can get her up there safely, she's going to go into Fairy Dream. However, we have to address this one first. Objectively, like, I actually think that the design of this molded on top is pretty well done for a molded on top. Like, it looks a little bit more organic. The butterfly motif fits really well. I like the skirt a lot. The reason that I have beef with this doll is that these wings are originally from the Swan Lake dolls, specifically like the Odette doll. And it bothers me that they're the same wing, just recolored with a little bit of pink. Like, to me, in my head, those belong to the Swan Lake Barbie. And I'm a big fan of that doll. And so it's like offensive to see them just transplanted onto this other doll, especially because they're not, like, I don't remember the Fairytopia movies very well. I don't even think I saw all of them when I was younger. But I don't think this is accurate to any point in the movie. Like, I don't ever remember seeing her actually have wings like this. I think this was just a case of them needing to reuse it, and it does offend me. She's gonna go all the way down to cute enough for the crime of stealing Odette's wings. Next up, we have a Rainbow Alina, which is a exceptionally bad photo, and I am extremely sorry for that. I get that this was like a whole thing with a movie. I just don't like the way that it looks. I think it feels just a little bit too on the nose, a little bit lazy. I don't know. It's technically a fairy. Next up, we have one that we actually saw in the Mermaid Barbie ranking, and that is the Mermaidia Alina doll because she can transform. So, like, last time we ranked her mermaid portion, today we're pretending that's not happening, and we're going to take a look at the fairy doll, who is just as beautiful. Like, these wings are so big and so beautiful and so well designed. I think it's absolutely amazing that when she's in her mermaid form, you are really getting jellyfish from the skirt, but like, I don't feel that too aggressively in her fairy form. Like, it still very much feels like something that a fairy could just wear and like be fun. I think this is such a well-designed doll in both forms, which is wild. I almost never feel like that about transforming dolls. So she's going straight up into Fairy Dream. We have another Tooth Fairy. I'm not even gonna like put myself through this. I'm just gonna put her straight into the bottom tier. I'm just not doing it. Then we have Lumina. I want to like her more than I do. Like, I think that this is a fun concept. I don't even mind that her wings are shaped like moons. There's something that's not quite 100% there for me. That being said, she's definitely not ugly. I'm going to put her into cute enough. Okay, this one is a fairy and a Pegasus. I don't know if this is from anything. Like, that's all the information that I have. This is funny to me because, like, a fairy can already fly. So I'm not 100% sure why they would need a Pegasus unless, like, a Pegasus can fly significantly faster than the fairy. It's just kind of an interesting concept to me. It could be worse, but like, there's not a lot that I like happening. You know what? The color scheme could be significantly more offensive. Like, this is, I think, a very pink done right color scheme. She has a lot of molded on stuff, but at least the wings look cute. We're going to be nice, and we're going to say technically a fairy for this. I'm not really taking the Pegasus into account because, like, I'm supposed to be just ranking the fairies. This one I just wrote Nikki. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is from some line. I was being unhelpful to future me and you guys when I prepared for this. I don't like the wings because, again, they're getting into that territory of, like, they look like printed fabric instead of looking like fairy wings. But I do think her outfit is pretty decent, honestly. Like, I think the skirt's quite cute. The molded on top could be significantly worse. I'm going to put her into technically a fairy. The wings are such a big deal for me when it comes to fairies because, again, wings are, for me, like a huge signifier of, oh, this is a fairy doll. And yeah, the wings were just rough. This one, I went ahead and pulled all 3 color variations. I don't know why I decided to put extra effort into this one, but this is the Bubble Fairy. You can spin her and, like, bubbles come out because she's got the bubble wands strapped to her arms, which, like, on the one hand is a fun gimmick. I do appreciate that because I think it's, like, more unique than some gimmicks that we get today is the bubble aspect. I think it does invite kids to play with the doll. Like, that's all super chill. Looking at the outfits, I feel like they are a little bit dated for me, but they aren't terrible. What kills me is, like, why would you not make fairy wings out of the bubble wand, right? Like, why is this called a bubble fairy and she has no wings when it was right there? Like, you could have made the wings the bubble wand part. I just feel like that it was right there and they didn't go for it. And instead, she's just got little arm situations, which, like, it's fine, but I'm confused. I'm going to say technically a fairy, which is funny because, like, I would debate that, but that's the rank title. So next up, this is just called Blue Fairy. Again, so helpful. So good. I don't hate her outfit, but I do hate her wings a lot. Yeah, it's bug. I don't know what it is, but it's got bad vibes. This is a Flower and Flutter Fairy that I want to like because these big wings are so cool. I don't know. I'm guessing there's some sort of gimmick because, like, the pen, that's a good guess there. That perhaps the pen has something to do with that. I just can't force myself to like it that much. I'm going to say technically a fairy because I don't even know what the gimmick is. So, like, I can't really give points for that. But that could be worse, I guess. Next up are three quote-unquote beautiful fairies, none of which feel very beautiful to me, and I will not be explaining further. Those are going to go in bottom tier. How many more? Oh, okay. I gotta hurry it up a little. This one is from The Secret Door. I think this is Nori, the same character as like the next layer that we're going to be getting to. I'm not obsessed with the bottom half of the dress. Honestly, though, the molded on glitter with like this cool little sort of neck piece with the butterflies is absolutely sick. And I love the wings, okay? They are a bit on the nose with the butterfly cutouts. Like, that's a bit much. But the fact that they're three separate pieces of this like transparent plastic in these different colors, so you get this super cool effect of the colors overlapping and like not sharing. Oh my God. Think, use your brain. They're mixing into different colors. I just think this is such a fun idea that even though I don't like the bottom half, I have to put her all the way up in Flutterific because that is just very unique to me. I don't think that any of the other fairy Barbies or really any other fairy doll that I've seen specifically has something quite like that, and it looks so cool. However, her other one, not as good. Again, like we've still got the same situation here, which is fun. The wings aren't there though, and the skirt is worse. So that's going to go all the way down into Bug. This one is Secret Fairy. So hold on. I know I had Secret Fairies before, right? No, those were Fairy Secret. Is this different? Am I crazy? I don't know what I was doing. This is a costume. Flat out. Like, this is just a costume, and it's not a good costume. That's going in Butterfly away from me, which she can't because those aren't even real wings, but like, she can try, I guess. Another one from Fairy Secret. This looks like a pop star who is wearing fairy wings for their performance, which, like, no shade if that's the design you're going for. However, I want this to look like a fairy, and it doesn't. Bug. This one is Dandelion. This is a really bad photo. I am sorry. I don't know why her specifically, like, I had a hard time finding a good image for, but hopefully you get the gist. We do have, as we saw with some of the other earlier, Barbie fairies that we saw from like Fairytopia especially, the kind of molded on legging legs. Still not a huge fan, but it could be worse. I don't think that the wings are terrible. She's got like a sunny disposition. I'm gonna put her in cute enough because like I think there's a lot of dolls that are better than this one, but I do think there are also a lot that are worse. Next up is Dahlia, who kind of like the same like pattern, I guess you would say, as Dandelion with the legging legs and like similar wings. I do think I like this less. Like her legging legs just frankly are giving like a little bit of disease or like mold spores or something because of the colors specifically. So I'm going to put her down into technically a fairy. Next up we have Azura. I want to like her so much more than I do, but I like the outfit a lot, but the legging legs and then the wings, like I think it's the same flower print that were on the last two, or like a very similar, but because it's blue, it's just really intense and really aggressive, and it just looks a little costumey. I'm gonna put her in cute enough because she does have some good stuff happening, but like, she deserved a little more. Next up is the Sparkle Lights Fairy, which I'm gonna give you guys 3 seconds to figure out what you think I feel about this. 3, 2, 1. Absolute garbage. She's going in Butterfly away from me. Next up is Mix and Match Fairy Assortment, which is another one that like I want to have up here for a second so that you guys can look at them, but I also just want to get off my screen as soon as possible. These are rough. These are bad, and they're going in Butterfly away from me. Next up, we have two different Willa dolls. The one on the left is vastly superior to the one on the right. I don't know if that was just like a budget release, hence like the shorter hair and the simpler hairstyle, or what was the situation. The wings are still cute on that more like budgety looking one. I'm going to kind of just shrink her down for a second. I think she's going to go into cute enough. Because like, if I wasn't directly comparing her to another doll of the same character, I feel like I would be more charitable towards her. Ooh. But I can see this one, and I just think this is vastly better. The molded on top is better. I think the skirt looks nicer. I think that the hair suits her more. She's gonna go into Flutterific. Then we have Rayla and Raina. Gosh. I should have split these up. We're gonna do a very awkward and strangely shaped little selection here. This one, I don't know which is which, so I am sorry. I think I wrote them in order, but I don't know for sure. This one is so much worse. Like, the skirt is so bad, and the molded on top is so bad. I'm gonna pop her squarely into bug as soon as I can. As for this one, wow, nice. The blue one. Y'all, I don't know what's happening with me today, but I like cannot use my hands. I cannot use my words. I cannot select the things that I want to select. Breathe. Definitely so much better. I just feel like the details on the molded on top look more like a fairy instead of just looking really like kiddish and kitschy. I just like this one significantly better. I think I'm going to put her into cute enough. And then, yeah, the pinky one down here is going to be bug. Okay, next up we have two Prince Carlos dolls, which I believe are from the Mariposa movie. Again, one is definitely better than the other. I feel so bad for, like, I mean, male dolls in general, I feel like get less attention than girl dolls, but, like, especially in fantasy settings, I just don't think that they're given the same level of attention that they deserve. Neither is super. I think I'm gonna put the one on the right in bug. Actually, you know what? That's mean. He's gonna go into technically a fairy, because you know what? He could be worse. And, like, this is the movie design. Like, he wasn't given much to begin with, so, you know, it's not like the doll specifically is bad. And then this one has a little bit more detail, so I'm going to put this one up into cute enough. We're going to be nice to them, because, like, someone has to. Okay, next up we have Sunburst, which is another really bad photo, and I am so sorry. I feel like her face probably looks less frightening in a good photo or in person. So I'm just going to try to judge off of everything else. And I do think everything else is quite fun. The molded on top is a fun design instead of just being like, there you go. I think the wings are fun, but they still read as wings. She's got a funky little hairstyle and like the skirt. I think this is solid, and she's going to go into Flutterific. Next up is Glee. Similar situation. I'm really sorry. I love this one though. I think the color scheme is really cute. I love the hairstyle. The wings are like very leafy and just interesting and pointy and fun. Even though it's like a really bad stock image here, I'm going to put her all the way up into Fairy Dream. I think that's a very fascinating doll. I like it a lot. Oh my god. Guys. This is another bad image. Like, I don't know why I had such a hard time finding good images, but this is the Fairytopia Enchantress doll, and I do have this one. One of you guys was actually kind enough to gift her to me, and I will forever be grateful for that, because now she's sitting on my shelf behind the camera, and every time I look at her, I could feel a little bit of happiness. This is such a beautiful doll. This was like a collector's level like edition, so she is going to be a little bit more detailed and like have a little bit more going on. She's just so pretty. The way that they did the wings is so nice with like the transparent plastic and just the lines of gold running on it. Absolutely stunning. Fairy Dream for sure. This one's just a fairy assortment. I kind of like this pink one the most, but I think it's just because her wings are kind of giving the same thing that that one Mariposa doll did. Objectively though, they're not great. They're gonna go and butterfly away from me. Oh god, okay. These are some Dreamtopia fairies. I'm not even going to say anything, because y'all already know what I'm going to say, right? Actually, you know what? I lied. I am going to say something. I get that this is probably for playability, but I'm sorry. It looks so horrific that you've just got these stupid little clips that the wings clip on with. That's not a fairy. Like, surely if you wanted them to be removable, you could find a better way to do that. I'm sorry. I hate that so much. Anyway, you guys probably already knew that we're going to go into bottom tier here. More Dreamtopia fairies, more ugly waist clips. The only thing positive about this is the fact that we have different body molds. That's cool. Other than that, fly away from me. Okay, we're almost done. I gotta get through two more tooth fairies. They don't look like tooth fairies, so I'm going to try to survive this. I forgot to write down a year for this one. I think this is the most recent Tooth Fairy. Honestly, genuinely, I probably would have bought this doll if she wasn't marketed as being a Tooth Fairy. So if, like, that shows you how far my aversion goes, that's how far my aversion goes. I think her wings are absolutely stunning. The way that they are, like, on the top. That's really what I was going to say. I have an eyelash on my eye. I'm so sorry. I feel like a little bit unhinged this video, and I don't have a good excuse for it. Whew. She's got like the kind of what you would consider normal fairy wings, but then she also has the bottom wing be super long, like going to the floor, and I love that design. I think it's very pretty. Nothing about her is reading Tooth Fairy except for her name, but I can't like disassociate her from being a Tooth Fairy in my mind, and so I still just don't feel comfortable with this doll. I'm gonna put her in Flutterific because I know that's a good design. I just I just have a mental block there. Another Tooth Fairy. This one's from 2006. Very pretty. I think that the leg sculpt is very interesting, like the way that her feet are sculpted. It's kind of like accurate to how you would draw a fairy, like in that position. Like I've seen drawings like that before. I've probably even drawn drawings like that before. But seeing it sculpted is just kind of funny, I guess. That being said, her dress is really cute. Her wings look nice. But again, Tooth Fairy. So the highest she can feasibly go is Flutterific. You know what? I'm going to skip this one for right now so we can end on a high note. Not that we're like not on a good note with this next one, but like we have to end on the highest note. So this is the Queen of the Fairies doll, which I do think is quite pretty. This is from Ballet Shoes. Make me think that it might be like a Nutcracker line, but I'm not certain. Don't quote me on that at all. For me personally, I'm looking at this as like fairies, not like fairies in a ballet. So the ballet shoes are kind of throwing me off, even though I understand it's part of the design. Like, I can understand something and still not like it, right? I think that the wings are okay. These silly little squiggles are like not quite working for me, but her dress is really pretty. You know what, though? Something about the vibes are just not hitting for me, so she's going to go into cute enough. And then we get to circle back to the Fairy Queen. This is, wow, fix your layers. There you go. This is the Fairy Queen from the Legends of Ireland line, which I think is just a stellar line. I think all of those dolls are really, really beautiful. This one actually does come in several different variations. I know that there's like a redheaded version. I'm not 100% sure if like there might be a blonde one, but I know for sure there's like, this is labeled as brunette, but this looks very, like very dark to me. But then there's a redheaded one. This is such a pretty doll. Like, she's just so beautiful. That crazy majestic crown, the shape of this dress is absolutely to die for. Like, I love the sleeves. The silhouette is just so nice. And her wings flow so beautifully with the silhouette. I think it was a really cool decision to have them be kind of like these more downturned wings instead of like the traditional like upturned fairy wings. I just think it really works with, again, the shape of her dress, and it also just gives her a certain flow and kind of gives her a little bit more elegance that is very suited to being a fairy queen. I love this doll. Can you tell? It's so beautiful. I definitely want to own her someday. So she is going to go into Fairy Dream. And that does conclude our ranking for today. I think this is kind of similar to the Mermaid Barbie ranking in that there's a lot on top. Like, there's a lot of good dolls, but a lot of also really bad dolls. And again, I feel myself just saying the same thing that I say about Barbie so often, which is that, first of all, the older days were better. And like, I understand that every person says that. Like, everyone is like, oh yeah, back in my day, this was better. Like, they were better, okay? I know they're zoomed in, but like this was a Playline doll, okay? That wasn't like a collector doll. This is now a Playline fairy doll. And the pixelation doesn't matter. Like, you can tell me which one is better. So like, I feel like it's not just me getting older and being like, things were better when I was a kid. Like, it's not that. I just think that Barbie is not quite in her peak anymore. Hopefully we'll see her return at some point. But the other thing is just that when Barbie does do well, I think they're splendid dolls. Like, absolutely knock it out of the park. It's just that when she misses, it's also really bad. So there's just a funny dichotomy all the time with Barbie for me. But yeah, this is going to be the ranking. So that is finally it, guys. I'm a little bit nervous to see the total runtime of this video. I really was going off on some tangents and just like not talking well today, so I am sorry for that. I don't know what's up, but like, I still had fun doing the ranking today. I definitely hope you guys had fun watching as well. As I said before, I'd love to hear your opinions on like what are your favorites and least favorites and all of that jazz. I'm not going to ask you to rank all of these because that would be so much for you to go through, but just like the highlights and lowlights, I'm very curious about. But yeah, that was it for today, y'all. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.